lot of stories all over the place in respect of the political activities, the meetings that we're seeing. So we heard the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi and former Governor of Kaduna State Nasir El-Rufai reportedly have adopted the African Democratic Congress APC as the official platform for a new opposition coalition. The story says that the three of them reached a decision after a high-level meeting held earlier in the week, which would signal that there's a formal emergence of the long-anticipated political alliance. That story is not yet confirmed. We'll probably confirm it tonight. Whether or not they have adopted ADC, well, we do know that officially Mr. El-Rufai said he has moved to the SDP. All of these defections, how does it affect the polity? Plus, what happened today? Let's listen and hear from the spokesperson of the former vice president and the presidential candidate of the PDP in the 2023 election, Mr. Paul Ibo. We call him Mazi. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. First and foremost, what is your own assessment of the event of today? You are speaking for the leader of the opposition in Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar.
Sure. If my uncle, God forbid, passes on today, and then there is a wedding of maybe a cousin that has been fixed, that wedding will not take place. You need to bury the dead first before you celebrate. So it's unfortunate that, like you put it, the APC is having a Christmas, in June. It's unfortunate and clearly shows, like I've said repeatedly, that they're not cut out for governance. It's all about politics. Yes, it's good to do an assessment, but why do you have to have an Owambe? Have a party to beat your chest. There are plenty, only in the books, not in the bands. Just a reminder of Animal Farm, 1984. And I believe that this administration takes from the playbook of those pigs who told us in Animal Farm that 4 legs were good, 2 legs better.
So today was a sham as far as you're concerned?
It was, clearly.
But this is something that you, opposition, have not been able to organize yourself to do. The ruling party came together and organized a summit. Isn't that some kind of credence to how better organized they are?
When you talk about you, opposition, you have forgotten that some of the elements of the APC are now, PDP, rogue elements that have been captured. I speak about someone like Minister Nyesom Wike. So what do you expect?
Interestingly, he wasn't at that event today. So that means he's still a solid member of your party.
Maybe he's in London preparing for I hope they're having another round of Owambe in London to advertise, to celebrate the achievements.
Do you think there is anything worth celebrating?
What is there, Sheung? Look at the state of insecurity. I mean, Zulum had to go to Mate, which appears to be the ground zero of the insecurity attacks in Borno State. The governor has said it repeatedly, and he said it. Was it yesterday or so? Territories are being captured, even in areas where the former president has been able to, achieve some results. The traditional ruler in Borno, the Shewa of Borno, has also spoken about that. So insecurity is rife. Look at the killings in Benue and in Plateau. While the president was, in France, having a good time at the expense of us, the citizens.
In the last 24 months, Mr. Ide, you don't think there is any kind of traction, truthfully, either opposition or ruling party or any kind of spirit that any Nigeria has in them can we say that there is some level of traction that we have seen in this government and its activities based on the promises they made?
The only thing that they have done very well is to create a conditioned precedent for opposition politicians to defect to the APC. And now it is interesting what is going on. And a lot of people don't know that something sinister that is going on, with the anti-corruption agencies.
Oh, it's linked to it?
Oh, yes.
The defection that we see?
That's correct.
Which one?
The previous ones and all the other ones that are ongoing. Let me tell you, I know of a lawmaker. I also know of a lawyer who is holding brief for this lawmaker. And they are shaking him down. The objective is to ensure that by the time they show him the results of his corruption, they will open the doors to the ruling party and tell him to go in and sin no more. That was the same scenario with a former governor in a South state. And the current governor of that state that defected. That is the same scenario with another governor in the South who is also threatening to leave the opposition party to the APC. 48 hours before the defections of the ones that I just referenced, the EFCC chairman and the Solicitor General of the Federation allegedly met with these individuals at their government lodge. The question is, what was an individual who saddled with the task of anti-corruption, of ensuring that the resources, the monies of Nigerians, the common things that are gone into private, pockets.
But those allegations you have laid, there's no way for you to verify them.
I'm a journalist on sabbatical.
So maybe your tools are still at home. You may not have your facts right.
So I'm telling you, and I use the word, consciously, allegedly. Listen.
So you're drawing the defection. Is it painful to you and your principal that the man who flagged him to that election abandoned him? Isn't that a slap on the leadership of Waziri Atiku Abubakar? That Ganifa Yokowa left him and defected.
Everybody will account for themselves. Everybody. His Excellency Atiku Abubakar had no regrets. As at the time he chose the individual, there were things, and he cleared the boxes. But at the end of the day, ultimately, it's every man to himself. Everybody has to be accountable, for what they have done. What I'm speaking to is something that has ramifications, to our democracy and the fight against corruption.
So, if I may get you right, you are inferring, and I don't like people talking in parables here, you are inferring that the only reasons why people are moving into the APC is because they are linked to corruption. And I'm not sure everybody fits that bill. And it's going to be unfair if you paint everybody with the same brush. And you are inferring that they are hounding opposition to drag them into their party.
It's called shaking down. They are shaking them down. It's unprecedented. It has ever happened. But in our political history,
but the story,
when you use the anti-corruption instrument,
but the story is
as a political tool.
Mazi, the story is that your principal is also leaving the PDP.
I don't know.
So is it being shaken down too?
PDP. He has said it. My principal is in a position. He has said it. I wasn't leaving the PDP, and you have to, you have to respect what he has said. You don't. I don't need to come here to, to speak. But it is an issue that he has spoken on.
Has he adopted the ADC alongside himself and his friends?
Well, you and I know that there have been ongoing, it's there in the public domain. There have been ongoing discussion, between, Atiku Abubakar and, some opposition leaders, Peter Obi, Nasir Rufai. Yes, it's out there in the open. Discussion is still ongoing. And at the end of that discussion, they will come out with a position and the direction that we're going to follow. based on the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians.
Can we see a repeat of the 2029 ticket design? Atiku, Peter Obi, is it possible? Is that in the offing?
That ticket was very viable, and a lot of people, have alluded to the fact that they never lost that election.
Well, what now happened?
Are you telling me are you a stranger to?
No, because it's either you win or you lose an election.
Well, you can lose an election and that election was rigged. What I'm saying, in effect, is that ticket was viable in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Mm-hmm. And it's still viable to today. But it is left to the individuals to be able to come to a determination as to how they proceed. And so let us not go ahead of.
But they are talking.
They are talking.
Peter Obi and Atiku are talking.
They are talking. And much more. They are talking.
Give us an understanding of how this hits Atiku Abubakar, the Ifeanyi Okowa defection.
No, let us not overflog, the issue. I mean, the former governor of Delta State is still alive by the mercy and grace of God. He's the one that can.
Did he tell Atiku that he was leaving?
I wouldn't know about that.
The reason why I'm saying that is, Mr. Aide.
Yes, what I'm telling you is this.
If your wife changes faith,
yes,
and I know, I don't know whether you're Catholic or something, but if your wife changes faith, as an adult, she has the right to do so. That's or right. Would you be disappointed?
Well, when you're married, you become one.
So you imagine that you will go on that journey together. So if she changes faith, will you be disappointed?
That wasn't what Atiku
and it was a marriage. They were on the same ticket. Their political destiny were tied on that ticket. It was a marriage. They came together. What is marriage? Coming together.
No, if at that stage it was
they were legally bound.
Dating. If they had won an election, then you can say it would have become a marriage then. So at that point it was dating. That was what it was. But they had not gotten the mandate of Nigeria.
But do you see it as a betrayal?
Listen, you speak to the man who did what
I'm asking you because I'm trying to get the Atiku side of the story.
What I'm telling you, Shehu, and it's up to them to to discredit what I've said. What I'm saying is that the anti-corruption fight, the anti-corruption infrastructure is being used to kidnap politicians and political leaders, and then they eventually get to pay political ransom, which is the defection to the APC.
I had an interview, exclusive one, with the chairman of the EFCC who said he has a reputation. He will never do such a thing. And that the EFCC has been doing its job, and members of the ruling party have been called to come and account for sitting governors in the APC. Former governors of the APC have been investigated. And so, accusation that EFCC is being used for political reason, he has dismissed it.
You see, there is nothing that this administration, the Tinubu administration, will not do with an eye on 2027. Look at, we're talking about even the data from the Bureau of Statistics. Bismarck Rwani said that those figures, data may have been sexed up.
So the allegation is that the APC is cooking the books.
But who is the gentleman there who is running the ABS? Who appointed him? Who is he serving? Is he still not serving this administration? Listen, for political consideration, they're ready to do anything. And the only thing that they are not doing is governance, ensuring that the lives of Nigerians are protected, ensuring that their welfare is paramount. You talk about food inflation. Look, can anybody survive in these, difficult times that people are living in? Look at the cost of doing business. Look at the cost of running this place, on if it is not a generator economy that we still have. When the villa would be more, more interested in allocating 20 billion to itself for solar. What does that tell you? It tells you that the idea of you having regular power supply, forget it. While they are trying to ban, solar panels that we don't have the capacity to produce a number.
Those who are doing the permutation, they say, look, with the way things are going, there is going to be a smooth ride for Bola Tinubu in 2027. What do you make of that?
I wish them luck. And just wait just a little while. The fireworks will start.
Really?
It will be between Nigerians versus Tinubu and his APC.
But if the performance of this government convinces the Nigerian people?
It's the bride that brings forth the other. What performance? Well, in the 2 years, half this and they are scoring themselves 100%. Is that not foolhardiness?
How would you say this government has failed, performed?
They were never prepared for governance. Really. I mean, look at the first fumble was the oil subsidy. Yes, we've been saying that everybody said they were going to reduce oil subsidy. They didn't have a cabinet. It was dropped flippantly. And all of the problems that I've been having, I said it here to date, revolves around there. There needs to be a plan. There needs to be a strategy.
Right.
There was none in place.
Paul Aide is the director of the media office of Atiku Abubakar and the spokesperson of the former vice president. Thanks so much indeed, Mazi Paul Aide.
Always my pleasure.
Thank you so much indeed.